Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Kindred Souls of Brooklyn. My name is Al, and welcome to a new series that I'm doing called Brooklyn's Best, Gone But Not Forgotten. In this episode, I want to talk about one of the most historic bakeries to ever exist inside of Brooklyn, and that's the Duchene Bakery that existed on 488 7th Avenue. Now, we had a Hallmark store up on 9th Avenue from 1986 to 2014, and some of the reasons I'm doing some of these particular places is because in that 25 years that we were there, we would hear oftentimes mention of famous places, things that people were longing for, things that people missed, and this was certainly one of those things. And to mention it on top of also a special shout out to my friend Veronica Duchene, who it was her grandparents who actually owned this, so that was another added wonderful thing about doing this. So big shout out to her and all the help she gives to our foundation, and she's just a great friend. So stay tuned for a really great video. I think you're going to enjoy it. So in many ways, this could be called an immigrant story, because I want to give you some background on these two folks who came over from Europe. So Apollonia Zamorska emigrated through Ellis Island, the American dream, right, to the United States from Poland in 1911. And I have put their picture up over here. Herman Duchene emigrated from Germany in 1912. And what happened with him was his family didn't have the money to actually give him a ticket. So what he did was, bakery was his trade. He was a baker. So what he did was he signed on to a ship as a baker, and he worked all across, from the trip to the Atlantic. And when he got to Bayonne, he just figured, okay, my work is done with them, and he came into America that way. So it was very interesting. And then they met, the couple met somewhere in the Atlantic Highlands in New Jersey, and they met and married a few months later in 1916. They settled in Midtown, New Jersey, but Herman Duchene, being he was a baker, he was saving up to buy his own place, and eventually in 1920, he had enough money to buy the building. Talk about, great immigrant story, right? Saving up your money like that. He had enough money to buy the building and was married, and he opened up the bakery at 488 7th Avenue in Park Slope. And I want to talk about more about this, but it's an amazing immigration story, and one that you maybe wouldn't see these days anymore. So I often think about how immigrants felt, and again, like I was saying, this is a real true immigration story. I often think of how they felt coming, into America, say, seeing the Statue of Liberty for the first time, or in the case of coming from Bayonne, New Jersey, going to Manhattan and being in this bustling place with a bunch of other immigrants and other people just trying to make out. They're very hardworking people, and back in those days. And in many ways, you talk about what they call the greatest generation. That's kind of the beginning of it. And I'm going to put up over here some pictures now. And what's amazing, too, about these immigrants who came over is that they had 10 children, and I'm going to put the picture up here of the 10 children. 7 out of those 10 children were boys, and all 7 served in the military. So this was like the strengthening of America. You think about how America became an industrial power, a world power, the world leader that it is today. And it was basically on the shoulders of immigrants who had come over and who were willing to work hard, and who just were willing to just put their nose to the grindstone and go to work every day. And not only go to work every day, become a part of the community, become actual pillars of the community. And also put up over here an ad that was in the Brooklyn Eagle, and it's when the Duchenes were actually looking for a girl to work in the store. So this is the actual ad from the store. Now, what I find interesting too, it's also a time capsule too, because if you look at even in New York, things, civil rights and things were still kind of a little ways away. If you look at the ad that's like right above or below it, it mentions they need someone to do house cleaning, not the Duchenes. This was a different ad, and it mentions white person specifically. So it was a different era. The immigrants coming over faced a lot of prejudice, a lot of prejudice, and it wasn't an easy ride for them, but they did it. They hung through. So stay tuned in the video. I'm going to actually go to a little bakery, and I'm going to pick up some of the things that the Duchene sold, tell you more about them, and continue the story. I hope you're finding it really interesting, because I certainly am. This is, again, the best of Park Slope and Windsor Terrace of Brooklyn, and I hope you're enjoying this. So according to Robert McNeil, who lived on the top floor, Duchene's Bakery had the bakery on the ground level, and the Duchene family had the first and second floor, and on the third level they rented it out. And according to this guy Robert McNeil, who actually lived on the third floor, He said that the bakery was known for its buns. People would go there early on a Sunday morning to get the buns. It was known for its bun cake. It was known for its different kinds of cakes and rolls that they had inside. And it was also known for its almond ring, like this one right here. But I'm sure the one at Duchene's was much, much better. Just a very classic place. And you know, another interesting thing about the bakery, which was a really old school thing that I loved about the old business, was that everything was handmade inside the bakery itself. I mean, they just did everything from scratch. Typically, they had their ovens in the basement. And, you know, not unlike this right here, where you had, this is not in a basement, but just a very amazing place. And all kinds of different buns and rolls. And, I mean, stuff like this, I would have lived, oh man, would have been great. I'd have definitely been in there early in the morning. To know me, that, you know, when I have my choice, I'm a PM person. But I'd have definitely gotten up early to gotten me some of those rolls and bakery and pecan rolls and all those wonderful things that they had. And in time, Mr. Duchene actually became a master baker. And I showed there was a special pin that you got back then from the Bakery Association. So this is his actual pin that was from that from that award for being a master baker. So what I think was amazing about the old places was people would actually go to the bakery, to Mr. Duchene and Mrs. Duchene, and they would actually have them, because they had a lot of ovens, because that was always one of the things you'd wonder about as a kid, right? How do they make all this stuff for like a Sunday or whatever? And what it is they have the bakery, they have ovens in the basement. So people would actually go to the Duchenes, and like when it was around Thanksgiving time, and they would ask them to cook turkeys in their big ovens, and they would do it for them. So here's a picture of them actually doing that. And that's just something that, you know, you don't really see in this day and age anymore. And that's what was so classic about these places, was that they were real neighborhood places, really entrenched in the neighborhood, really tied to the neighborhood. And it was really like you know, it was pride. It was just love of being where you grew up, and, you know, really adapting and assimilating into the American culture and making America the powerhouse that it is today. Is because of all these folks that came over and all the ones that were already here, and the integration. And of course, things weren't perfect, but there was a lot of hardship and a lot of situation. But through resilience and hard work, it proved what could happen. And you look at now the grandchildren that have come from that, and the great grandchildren. It's the story of America. And this is just one family out of so many, but an amazing, wonderful, incredible family that I had the incredible privilege of knowing and still know today, the descendants of the original people, of course, and just an incredible family. So I hope you enjoyed that video on Duchene Bakery. It's a really memorable, classic place. And if you guys have any stories about it, I'd love to hear them. Any photos would be awesome, besides the ones that we have on here. And if you guys have any ideas, or girls have any ideas for any future videos for Brooklyn's Best, please let me know, because we like to highlight things on the channel. And, you know, it's important to remember the legacy of Brooklyn and all the historic things that have gone before. And like Maya Angelou used to say, in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you've been. So for now, this is Al signing off from Kindred Souls of Brooklyn. Take care of yourselves, subscribe, love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.